We are here with Gjon's Tears. In 2021, he came in third, earning Switzerland's best result since 1993. Gjon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks to you for the invitation.
Can you talk about what your relationship to Eurovision was growing up?
Actually, I discovered Eurovision when I was around 12. And I remember the first song I've seen was Feel the Passion from Albania. I sing this big star in Albania and on this show where there was so many people watching it. And then I remember also that I have dreamt of winning it.
Really? Can you talk about how you came to play the piano and how that started your love of songs and performing?
I remember from school, we had a kind of exercise. We needed to present our hobby, and I didn't have anything, any passion. I was like, what the hell? Why don't I have anything to do?
Amazing.
And so I was like, okay, I need to try lots of things. And I tried ice skating. I tried karate, but I really had a special connection with piano. And then my grandfather, he asked me to sing his favorite song, which was Can't Help Falling in Love from Elvis Presley. And I sang without knowing English, of course, so it should have sounded horrible. But he started to cry and he told me, like, you need to be seen by everyone because you can share something special. He was like, you have an high voice. Listen to Celine Dion, listen to Whitney Houston. So I was like just listening to her. I did Albanian's Got Talent and I finished at the third place. Like in Albania, it was crazy. Even when people have seen me in Eurovision for Switzerland, they were like, oh my God, it's the little boy from Albania's Got Talent. I went to the Conservatorio, to the open door day. I went to one of the teachers with whom I wanted to work. And I was like, I want to work with you. She was like, you're too young. I was like, I cannot leave. I need to work with you. I stayed for almost 2 hours and then I started to sing. And she was like, okay, let's meet next week. And then that's how I started the Conservatorio.
Amazing. Yeah, so you mentioned Albania's Got Talent. You were 12 at the time, and then you also did Switzerland's Got Talent as well.
Yeah, and then also France Got Talent called me to do the show.
At that age, with that exposure, did it affect your social life? Like, how was that experience?
The power of the social media wasn't that strong. If I failed, it was okay. I had the chance to be really respected for that at school. So people were a bit scared of speaking to me. So I was sometimes quite alone. When I was 18 years old, I've met my band. At that moment, I told my parents, I'm not going to study anymore. I want to focus into music because doing half and half things, it doesn't work. I want to do it fully. So my mother, she wasn't really supporting the fact that I wanted to stop my studies. But at the same time, she wanted to help me without telling me. When I did the last show, she sent the video and the next day they called me and they were like, we want you to do the castings of The Voice. It was also another discovery of who I wanted to be aesthetically. When I did The Voice, I remember the audition, blind audition. I didn't even brush my hair. And at that moment, I understood that this is TV and not really music. It's different. A Swiss duet, which is called Alios, have seen me on The Voice. And they were like, we are doing a writing session. You should come. I was like, okay. I don't know those people. Let's try. And in the afternoon, we finished the song. And then they told me, okay, we didn't tell you completely the whole thing. The idea of this camp is to send songs to Eurovision. And at that moment, I freaked out because I was like, okay, I just did The Voice and I don't want to do another TV show. Then I've seen the story of Eurovision. I mean, The Voice, when it was like at its best year, it's like 12 million people watching it. But when you see Eurovision and it's 180 million, it's like, okay, they're not joking.
It looked like you might represent Albania at one point. And then you eventually ended up representing Switzerland. These countries in some way are related to your identity. So would it have felt different representing Albania?
To be honest, if I was asked this before the experience, I would have said, no, it's not different. It's definitely different because the power of the delegation is really important. I've heard lots of stories. There was, for example, in my hotel a country that they were closing the door and we could hear the singer singing from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. It's not only singing, it was screaming because it was pushed. That person will never be able to sing at the end of the 2 weeks. So the Swiss delegation was just, for me, the perfect delegation because they gave me the freedom to do everything.
That first song for Eurovision, Répondez-moi. Can you talk about the lyric?
At school, people were like, Gjon, Gjon. In a way, it sounds nothing because everybody can be named John because it's not written in a French way. It's like you're not from Switzerland, obviously. And when I was in Kosovo or in Albania, I was like, I'm not from here neither because we don't have the same problems. My cousin that was really young was speaking to me about the moment she could be able to marry so she can then after try to build lawyer careers. I mean, we're 17. So that's why also doing Eurovision was a big thing for me. I'm just a puzzle with lots of different pieces. And that's how we wrote Répondez-moi. It's lots of questions I've asked myself.
It's a quieter song and it has a serious message. Did it surprise you that it was so popular?
Now that it's been a long time, I can tell all the secrets now.
Yes, like, our timing's perfect.
Yeah.
I think the press conference was maybe 10 minutes after the song was released. I was waiting and I opened my phone and I've seen the first reactions. It was like bad. They were like, what the hell? What is why a song in French? And why that kind of song? I started just crying because I was like, what did I do to myself? So now I know they don't like the song. So like, let's just make the interviews. When I've seen the bookmakers, I was like at the first position.
And then, of course, the pandemic happens, right? You're going into this contest with the song that everybody thinks is going to win, and then the contest doesn't happen.
I was just asking to my delegation then, okay, so what's next? I want to come back. I want to do it because I didn't do it. The problem was like, everyone loved Répondez-moi. Now we need to do another song. The problem is like when you do two songs, it's always people compares you to those two songs and it's like, Répondez-moi was better. So it was a big fight. But then when I met Wouter Hardy and Nina Sempermans, it clicked directly. I think it's the first song of the camp we did. Répondez-moi was like just throwing paint on the wall and instinctive tryings. Tout L'univers was created in the way that it was like a recipe. I received lots of messages saying, we love both songs, but we prefer a little bit Répondez-moi. And I get it because it's more me, but I'm happy that people still liked Tout L'univers and it did well.
So the process for choosing in 2021 is that you submitted a group of songs to a jury, right? And they chose one?
So I told the delegation chief, if I come back for Eurovision this year, I will compose my song. I think we did like 10 or 12 songs, but also we had the French version and the English version all the time almost to see what they liked the most. Tout L'univers did the best, but I just think for the cinematic beauty of Tout L'univers, it was the best choice because Eurovision, it's not like a contest of the voices only, because otherwise it would be a radio show. But it's also Eurovision, because I knew people will not really understand the lyric. I didn't want to tell a concrete story. It's like just me asking myself questions about my life, about my identity, and about the fact that I have no place anywhere I go.
The jury during the live performance decided that the French version would be the one that would go to Eurovision. What do you think the difference was there?
The major difference between French and English for me is the directness of the language. In English, you have that kind of implicit poetry that is amazing, that says a lot without saying a lot, like the way Johnny Mitchell write her songs. In French, you have this capacity of saying something harsh directly, and it sounds like a knife.
I think it had been a while since Switzerland had sent a song in French, and it was one of the most successful songs for Switzerland. There are a lot of people who, say, oh, English songs always do better. Do you think that something about the Eurovision audience is changing?
I don't have the feeling that if you have sung in French earlier, it would have been bad. Because if you see, for example, 1956 and like all of the French songs that won since then, La Variété Française, the French songs that were exploding in the 60s, and like with Edith Piaf before with the 20s, is Eurovision more open to languages? Any of them now? I would say for sure, yes.
The live performance of your song was really incredible. And the choreography in particular.
I received 2 big mood boards of 2 different directors. I had Sasha and someone else. I had the meeting with Sasha and I was like, no, never with her. Because she was like, she looked so strict. My delegation chief told me, you need to see them for real, and then you will make your decision. I've met Sasha, and I was like, that's the person. I mean, how the hell did I not see that? I told her I love dancing, but I don't feel comfortable at all, and I don't have the body to dance. I was the skinniest of my classroom. Other people in my class that were a bit like beating me. And then I was like, I will never let myself again just being bitten. And so I gained weight. Since that moment, I couldn't really lose my weight. I always had the feeling of being too fat. And so, especially on TV, it's not really helpful. She was like, stupid, but okay. She was like, what the hell are you saying to me? I can name 1,000 of dancers that are like overweight and still they dance incredibly well. I started just doing improvisation, dancing without not really dancing and feeling comfortable with my body. I couldn't imagine like Beyonce singing on Tout L'univers. So, I needed to find a way of telling a story with movements.
The juries really went crazy for the song, and the rules every year keep getting adjusted. What do you think the right balance is?
The advantages of the jury is that you're looking for a kind of validation also from the music industry, but also the public vote. It's as important as the jury vote, and you need to also touch the people with what you're doing.
A more recent tradition of sorts in Eurovision is the famous split screen. You were a part of that tense split screen at the very end there.
I need to say something which was a secret. They put a red wine and champagne in front of us.
Yeah, perfect.
We didn't eat anything because, of course, you couldn't be with your burger in front of 180 million people. So you didn't eat. You have red wine and champagne. You drink 3 glasses, you're like tipsy as hell. So I was like not really understanding what was happening. When the public vote starts and everything, I had like my delegation chief, he was like screaming. He was like, oh my God, we're going to win. We're going to win. I didn't realize really what happened. And I realized it when really I went to go to sleep.
As we come to the end here, I wanted to talk just a little bit about the rest of your album. You sometimes live in a very pop contemporary singer-songwriter category, and then the If There's a God Here section of Amen to You could be out of like a Bowie song. Where do you go for musical ideas?
Of artists like Nina Hagen, like Björk, of course, David Bowie. When you have your own identity and it can be in every of your songs, then you can do whatever you want. Like Lady Gaga, she just delivered a wonderful Joanna album with like guitars and a kind of folky country thing. And then she comes back with the Chromatica.
It's interesting because you pair that with a real emotional vulnerability in your lyrics. Cancer and Bobby are, incredible songs.
It's funny because Bobby is my first song I've written. And there are lots of problem in English in that song. Lots of time when I'm singing it, I have a bit of shame. But the thing is, like, I wanted people to understand the words, but I didn't care about the form of it. With Cancer, I wanted to just speak about that brutality of dying, not in a poem way. And it's just like explaining what it is, which is just screaming and bad moments. I lost someone who was really close to me from leukemia in 6 months. First time she went to the doctor, she never had anything. And 6 months, she was dead. When you see someone dying, you also have the family. When you see the mother losing her kid, you feel like someone else is dying in front of you. I promise, sometimes I write also about like easy things, not only like...
We're not interested in that. This is much better.
But the thing is, like, I wanted to write about the feeling of a mother who has all the attention when she's pregnant. And then when she have the baby becomes the attention and the mother is forgotten. So I've worked with Alize, and she had a baby. I wanted to share more feelings. That's why also John's tears was so important for me. I wanted to keep my grandfather's tears in my name, but also I want to touch people with a feeling.
Jon, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a really, really great conversation.
All the mysteries of the Euroverse.